Hi students, I want to show you how to complete the Safe Water Lab Part 2, tap water versus bottled water. In this lab, you are going to read about the background information about Joey the infant who was sick from his well water. There was his patient information in Part 1 if you want to find that out. And then for Part 2, you're going to read about the recovery that Joey had and that they moved into an apartment. And then you are going to read about how to test if his other water sources are safe. So in this lab, you are going to first make sure that you have on protective gloves and make sure you have on your protective eyewear. All of the contaminants and things in here are all just simulated. They are not real, but you still want to take safety precautions and teach yourself how to have good aseptic technique, which this is a great time to practice that. So if you look at the bottled water testing, you're going to start on bottled water, and then you're also going to use this sheet for tap water. I have here my pipettes, and they're all labeled to match whatever solution I'm going to put in them. So I would never use this pipette on a different thing and then put it back in, because then that would cross-contaminate each other. All of the pipettes are labeled. When mine came, the labels were all labeled for nitrates, and I needed one pipette for each. And so I knew that was a mistake. So I just relabeled the back of mine. I just wrote on it, tap for tap water and BOT for bottled water. So I know that this pipette only goes into this sample. So whatever you need to do to stay neat and organized, make sure you do that through the lab. Okay, I'm gonna start by putting 1 drop of tap water on each of, you're supposed to start with bottled waters. I'm going to start there. I want to make sure to do this in order. So my bottled waters I put up at the top to remind myself that it's going first. Here's my bottled water sample, and here's my bottled water pipette that I relabeled. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take a drop. It said do a drop of water. And I'm going to put exactly 1 drop. I'm not going to touch the paper because I don't want to cross-contaminate with whatever could be on the paper. And I'm just going to drop 1 drop. And I'm going to do that on each of the circles. I'm going to just pretend that I did the other circles because I don't want to give away how to do the entire lab. I want you to have some surprises where you do it on your own. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the tap water. I'm going to use my tap water pipette to go into my tap water sample. Again, I wouldn't want to cross-contaminate between the two. So I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to put 1 drop, not touching the paper, and I'm going to squirt the excess back inside and cap it. Once I have my drops of water on each of the circles, then I'm going to keep reading my directions, add 1 drop of each of the solution to each of the circles. So the first one is that you test for coliform bacteria. So that's my orange one. I'm going to grab my coliform bacteria pipette and my coliform bacteria sample. And I'm going to get 1 drop. I'm going to hold it over my other drop to make over my water drop so that I'm not touching it and it's not cross-contaminated. And I'm going to put in my drop there. I'm going to let you guys do that because I don't want to ruin the surprise on how to complete that. But when you are done, you are going to compare the colors that you got here to the colors on this sheet. So really dark red and orange mean that for coliform bacteria, it's unsafe. Very light orange to yellow means that it's safe. Very light orange to yellow means that it's unsafe. So you're going to compare that with the color that you get here, and then you'll record whether or not you think the bottled water for coliform is safe. And you're going to do that with tap water as well. Based on that information, you're going to answer these questions about should they keep using tap water, should they keep using bottled water, and then you're going to use the information sheet that you guys were provided here. You guys are going to take this information sheet and you are going to answer these questions here, where you make basically 8 evidence that support the use of tap water instead of bottled water. And then on your list, you're going to put X's in front of 3 pieces of evidence that would most likely persuade a friend to use tap water. So what out of these 8 that you wrote, what 3 are like the strongest evidences? And I want you to record that there. And then for the last part, you're going to write a paragraph to persuade people to use the tap water instead of the bottled water, but you're going to cite your 3 evidences. So you're going to use your 3 evidences that you selected here as the strongest arguments, and you're going to use that to write up your paragraph of why you think people should use tap water instead of bottled water. That's how you complete this lab and the questions. Once you get it turned in, please make sure that each of these pages is included, and include a picture of yourself completing the lab. I would love to see what you guys are doing. Everything in the end should be cleaned up. These, if you could just squirt some fresh water in and clean it out. And then once you have cleaned everything up, don't dump out these little samples. They don't need to be dumped out. Just put them all back in here neatly with all the pipettes so that somebody can use them next year. These pieces of paper that you dropped water on, these can go in the garbage. Please save this sheet if it's in good shape and put it back. And please save your fact sheet. Also, there's this fact sheet about bottled water that you can also consult if you need it throughout your lab. All right, take care.